levels that you're never gonna get. That's peak. Always push it up until the red. That's peak. Never expect your respect. That's peak. I train 52 weeks times 10. That's peak.
The Dark Knight Returns was a tour de force, a pièce de résistance, and other French terms that make something sound really good. Upon its release in 1986, it changed the landscape of comics, in an instant making the 1966 version of Batman completely redundant, and presenting a darker version of the Caped Crusader that would mould the next 30 years in comics to come. It was a huge success both critically and commercially, and as with all successful things, the man at the top, he wants more.
Give more, I want more of this, I don't care if it's crap.
So in 2001, Frank Miller was commissioned to write The Dark Knight Strikes Again. It's a sequel that takes place after the initial continuity of the original book. Often works like this suffer from a sophomore curse. When a property is so highly regarded, it makes it difficult for its sequels and follow-ups to be as good as the original, due to sentimentality, nostalgia, you know, general people just thinking stuff's really good and they don't want to see it ruined. We've seen it with Terminator, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, the list just goes on, and several hot properties are forced to have obligatory sequels down the line. The Dark Knight Strikes Again was no different. Criticised by many, the reputation of this book precedes it. Often used as a punchline and laughed at by many, it still is regarded by some, like Grant Morrison, as groundbreaking. I'm here to find out if it's as bad as everyone says, or if it's really good. So with that out the way, let's dive into The Dark Knight Strikes Again. Upon opening the book, you are immediately hit with how bad the art is in comparison to its predecessor. Whilst I was never a fan of The Dark Knight Returns art style, this makes it look like a Da Vinci painting. Most of the pages here look like they were drawn by Stevie Wonder. Most of the panels are missing backgrounds. The women look like Nicki Minaj, and it has just a flash of the lazy, perverted Frank Miller that so many would come to hate. You could use these pages as toilet paper and it would still be more productive than what Miller put out. The first time I read this book, I remember getting to the Atom section and just flinging it out of my hand. I was a moody teenager. I hadn't lost my virginity, so I had a lot of pent-up anger until that happened when I was 18. I was 18 when that happened. Ansha was a model. Ansha paid me. Anyway, the point is, this book was really garish, and it was a chore to read. I'm happy to say that with age it's become slightly more bearable, but you have to really force yourself through the pages, and I can imagine this massively putting off new readers. Opening on 3 different news segments, all happening at once, the book feels like a complete mess. Frank Miller needs to listen to Focus by Ariana Grande because it's lacking focus. Yeah, a lot of these jokes, they don't work. What I can get from the garble is that America is in a state of martial law, yet the news spin it so that it's a positive thing. Crime is down, but so is free speech. The heroes of the world are gone. This really reminded me of the weapons of mass destruction scandal that happened after 9/11. The population believed it was right to go to war with Iraq because the media reported every single prejudice as a fact, and we all know how that turned out. So this is a really relevant satire that unfortunately, due to its presentation, loses impact. In between each news report is a post of news in the news, and whilst there's maybe a hint that people only watch the news for entertainment now, it could have been presented in a better way. The focus of this opening issue revolves around getting the heroes back. The Atom has been trapped in a petri dish, Green Lantern has flown off Earth, and the Flash is forever running on a hamster wheel to give electricity to the world. Leading the Sons of Batman, Carrie Kelly, now Catgirl, charges an onslaught to get the captured Crusaders back, and had the art been slightly better, these moments could have been much more exciting. There is 3 pages of the book that are just Microsoft Word backgrounds, and in its entirety it feels sloppy. We see a Batman soldier get crucified for using one of his guns to kill an enemy, but it makes you wonder, like, why were they given guns in the first place if they're not allowed to use them? The book is contradictory to its own ideas, and it's a shame that it doesn't allow the characters to carry over the intelligence that they possessed last time. One of the main criticisms I've seen against this book is that the public don't seem to care that the president is a hologram controlled by Lex Luthor. In the past, I would have agreed with the critique. However, after seeing how politics have evolved within media, I kind of side with Frank Miller on this. Living in the UK, I've seen Theresa May promise tough negotiations on Brexit, say she will step down if not elected by a majority, lambast the DUP and then still side with them in order to stay in power, and honestly, few seem to care. The older generation seem to be used to politicians lying and are now so apathetic to it they ignore any story that should be met with anger towards the government. Donald Trump slams Mexicans, transsexuals and gay rights, yet is speechless when discussing neo-Nazis, and his supporters don't seem to care. In fact, they rally even harder for him. Originally one of the lowest points, the presidential hologram is a satirical look at how useless the people of the Western world have become. In the past there would have been revolution, yet now we are happy to sit on our phones reading stupid Batman reviews when the world could be changed. Please don't unsubscribe. Aboard the Justice League Watchtower, Superman finally realizes that enough is enough. He has sacrificed too much. Joined by Wonder Woman and Shazam, he questions the higher-ups. Unfortunately for the group, Lex Luthor and Brainiac are aware of the meeting. Holding the bottled city of Kandor as a ransoming chip, Duo threaten the Super Friends. They want to know who has freed the heroes, and no, Superman is the only one who can obtain the answers. Knowing that Batman's behind it, he swoops down to the cave, thinking he's a legend, thinking it's gonna be an easy fight, doing a Conor McGregor. In a repeat of last time, he gets the absolute crap kicked out of him. It's absolutely glorious. Hitting him from every angle, the blue Boy Scout gets completely pummeled. It's an earth-shattering moment watching the Flash, Bizarro, the Robot Dinosaur, Green Arrow, everyone just taking the Man of Steel apart bit by bit. And when Batman arrives with his kryptonite glove, hammering him with deadly shot after deadly shot, it's a triumphant moment and one of the standout pieces in every Batman comic ever combined. I've seen many criticize the drawn-out nature of Batman's return, but the fact that this entire comic builds up to his entrance makes it that much more impactful when he does show up. Frank Miller plays the wild card and it pays off in my opinion. We're left with Superman completely broken and Batman is just saying, I'm done playing, the war is on. Due to the art style, the opening issue really suffers and it struggles to be as groundbreaking as it could have been. Plot points lack their impact due to the childlike, cartoonish nature of the work, which is a shame because there's actually a lot here that deserves your attention. Introducing Batman perfectly, this story feels more like a prologue to the events that are to follow. It establishes elements of the world, and whilst it feels slightly unfocused due to looking more like a Carrie Kelly story than a Bruce Wayne one, your enjoyment of this issue really just depends on your preferences. If you like art of a story, or if you want to read a Batman story with Batman in it. But to me, the payoff at the end of it is actually quite worth it. And though it is an arduous journey, it does have comedic moments within, but I can see it still putting many people off. This may be the reason for its dire reputation, because it just fails to live up to its predecessor. However, I think there's a lot to enjoy in this opening issue. And it's so bad, it's good, it's that kind of thing. And that's why overall I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. So what did you think of the book? Comment below and let me know. I'm going to be doing the entire Dark Knight Strikes Again series into my build-up of the Dark Knight 3, the Master Race review. So make sure you subscribe my channel to check out all that. Also check out my website at definition.co.uk because I'm reading and reviewing all of the Batman canon graphic novels in chronological order, and it's been a really good thing just reading through them all. So I hope to see you there. Take care. Peace.